Every Christmas day, Chief Ooch distributes fattened chickens to the villagers, earning their trust and admiration. What the villagers don't know is that the chickens are no ordinary gifts, they are cursed. The sun had barely risen over the serene village of Obioha when the first crow of a rooster echoed across the lush green landscape. "Take this chicken and rejoice," Chief Ooch's authoritative voice rang out as he handed a plump white chicken to Mama Udo. "Go, take another for your household," Chief Ooch urged calmly. As Obina reached for a chicken, a sudden gust of wind swept through, causing the chickens to cluck loudly, their beady eyes gleaming unnaturally. Matsi Yuga Chuku, leaning against his bicycle, frowned as he watched Chief Ooch. "Does it not strike you as odd that Ooch gives away so many chickens yet remains so wealthy?" he muttered to his wife, who warned him not to let his curiosity bring trouble. In Mama Udo's compound, the chicken scratched furiously at the ground, its eyes gleaming unnaturally. "Chaineke?" Mama Udo whispered, stumbling backward as the bird momentarily appeared to have human-like eyes. In a dimly lit room, Chief Ooch dipped his fingers into a bowl of dark liquid, whispering an incantation. The chickens across the village momentarily froze, their heads cocked as if listening to a silent command. The next morning, Obioha awoke to news that chilled the villagers. Obina was found unconscious in his hut, his skin pale, his breathing shallow, and no one could wake him. "We must pray to the gods for guidance," Chief Ooch said solemnly, his voice calm. Yuga Chuku met the chief's gaze and felt a shiver as he saw something dark in his eyes. The sound of clucking grew louder, filling the room with an eerie presence. Yuga Chuku's heart sank as his son stood in the doorway, pale and trembling, saying, "Papa, my chest hurts. I fear for my people, Adiz," Matsi said, his voice heavy. "There's a darkness stirring in Obioha," Adiz replied, her tone somber. "There are forces at work that even the gods remain silent about. These are powers older than the land itself," Adiz said quietly. "The gods may guide you in time, but for now you must wait." "I found the proof!" Matsi shouted, holding up a carved relic. "This is what's behind the sickness. It's his doing." "This is not the time for suspicion," Matsi Yuga Chuku shouted. But the villagers advanced, their voices rising, accusing him of bringing the curse upon them. The clucking grew louder, filling the village with an unnatural, echoing presence. Matsi sat alone, clutching his head as the sound crept closer. Through the crack in his door, Matsi saw grotesque shadows near the village shrine. His breath quickened as he whispered, "This is no ordinary curse." "The shadows are alive, Adiz," Matsi whispered. Adiz nodded solemnly, her voice heavy with warning. "The darkness is feeding. It will not stop until it is satisfied." "Chief, it's him," Matsi muttered, his heart racing. The chickens, the rituals, it all points back to him. The sun rose over Obioha, but the light brought no comfort. Sick children wailed, animals lay motionless, and despair gripped the villagers as they searched for someone to blame. "What have you done to us, Chief Ooch?" Matsi demanded. Chief Ooch smiled faintly, his voice low and measured. "I have only given what was asked." "Chief Ooch is the only one who helps us," a villager shouted. Another retorted, "And yet our children fall ill and our animals die. This is no help." In the dim glow of a flickering fire, Matsi watched as Chief Ooch chanted over a wooden shrine. The chickens moved unnaturally, their eyes glowing as shadows writhed on the compound walls. "You can follow me and be safe, or you can let your fear consume you," Chief Ooch said, his voice steady. "The choice is yours, but the consequences are not." "I saw it with my own eyes," Matsi yelled, but the crowd jeered, some shouting, "You're lying," while others murmured, unsure of what to believe. "You can follow me and be safe, or you can let your fear consume you," Chief Ooch said, his voice steady. "The choice is yours, but the consequences are not." The wind howled through Obioha, carrying faint whispers and eerie clucking. Matsi stepped into the dark, clutching a lantern, determined to uncover the truth. The moonlight filtered through the dense trees as Matsi approached the hidden altar. Strange carvings and bones littered the ground, filling him with dread. "Do not let fear cloud your judgment," Chief Ooch said calmly. "Matsi is the one tearing this village apart with his lies." The wind howled through the village, carrying strange whispers. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, and Matsi knew the curse was no longer contained. "If we don't act now, it will be too late," Matsi said firmly. The villagers nodded, their fear mingling with determination. The group approached the compound, their torches flickering against the night. "Stay close," Matsi whispered, his grip tightening on his lantern. "You think you can stop what has already begun?" Chief Ooch said, his voice eerily calm. Matsi stepped forward, torch in hand. "We won't let you destroy our village." Chief Ooch raised his hands, chanting in a deep, guttural tone. The air grew heavy and the shadows began to writhe and transform into monstrous shapes. The wind stilled and the shadows retreated into the night. Matsi lay motionless and the villagers whispered, "Is it over? He's gone," a villager whispered, staring at the empty compound. "But will he return?" The sun rose over Obioha, casting warm light on villagers as they tilled fields and rebuilt homes. Laughter returned, mingling with the songs of birds. "You're awake!" his wife exclaimed, tears streaming down her face. Matsi nodded faintly, his voice hoarse. "Is everyone safe? Do you think he'll come back?" one villager asked. Matsi's eyes darkened as he replied, "We must be ready if he does." The square was alive with music and laughter as villagers sang and danced around a large fire. Matsi sat quietly, his heart full as they cheered for him. The villagers carried stones and wood, their hands working tirelessly as they rebuilt the shrine. "This is for the gods," an elder said solemnly. Matsi walked the village's edge, his lantern lighting the path. "We must never let our guard down again," he murmured to himself. "Peace is fragile, Matsi," the elder said, his voice steady. "But with unity and a strong leader, we can protect it." The villagers gathered at the restored shrine, their songs and dances echoing through the village. Offerings of food and flowers were laid out with reverence. Matsi sat beneath the Udara tree, staring at the starry sky. "We've survived, but there's more to learn," he whispered to himself. "Our village was tested, but we stood strong," Matsi said, his voice steady. The children's eyes widened as they listened, their curiosity evident. The fields were green with new crops, and the sounds of livestock filled the air. "The gods have blessed us," one villager said with a smile. A carved stone stood tall in the square, its surface etched with the symbols of their story. "This is for all of us," Matsi said as the villagers gathered around. Drums echoed through the square as villagers danced in colorful attire. The air was filled with the scent of roasted yams and laughter. "Our ancestors faced trials like ours," the elder said gravely. "We must always remember and protect what we've rebuilt." As the sun rose, its golden rays painted the horizon. Matsi stood silently, watching the light spread over the village. "You must stand together, no matter the challenge," Matsi said. The young villagers nodded, determination in their eyes. "We've overcome great trials," Matsi said. "Now we must ensure our strength endures." "You must stand together, no matter the challenge," Matsi said. The young villagers nodded, determination in their eyes. Children's laughter filled the air as families worked side by side. The village pulsed with life and harmony. The elder placed his hand on Matsi's shoulder. "You are the strength of this village," he said, his voice steady. "We must protect what we've rebuilt," Matsi said. The villagers placed their hands together in a silent pledge. "Imagine fields that stretch beyond the horizon," Matsi said, his voice full of hope. "Together we can build that future." "Together we are strong," Matsi said, addressing the gathered villagers. "Let's build a future we can all be proud of." The villagers worked together, filling baskets with fresh yams and maize. Laughter and songs filled the air as they celebrated their hard work. Matsi gazed at the village below, the horizon stretching endlessly. "This is just the beginning," he whispered to himself. Drums echoed across the village as villagers danced in colorful attire. The air was filled with laughter and the aroma of roasted yams. "Always remember, this land thrives because we protect it together," Matsi said. The children nodded, their faces full of wonder. "Imagine fields stretching as far as the eye can see," Matsi said. "Together we can build that future." The market buzzed with activity as villagers traded goods and shared stories. In the fields, families worked side by side under the warm sun. "One day you'll lead this village," Matsi said, his voice calm but firm. The child nodded, their eyes shining with determination. "Together we can make Obioha a beacon of hope," Matsi said, addressing the gathered villagers. "The future is ours to shape." "Welcome to Obioha," Matsi said, extending a hand. The visitors smiled, their faces reflecting the hope of new friendships. The group walked through lush forests and open fields, their eyes scanning the horizon. "There's so much potential here," Matsi said. The air was filled with the sound of drums and the aroma of roasted yams. Villagers and visitors laughed and danced together under the stars. "Together we can build something greater," Matsi said. The leaders nodded, their expressions filled with optimism. "We're stronger when we work together," a villager said, hauling wood alongside the visitors. The bridge began to take shape under the bright sun. The square was alive with color and sound as dancers moved to the rhythm of drums. Stories from both communities were shared under the ancient Udara tree. The marketplace buzzed with activity as traders exchanged goods and shared stories. Matsi smiled, watching the connections grow. "Our customs are our roots," one elder said. The group nodded, sharing tales of their pasts and dreams for the future. This tree will grow as our bond does, Matsi said. Villagers cheered as the first seeds were planted. Children laughed as they ran through the square while adults worked in harmony in the fields. The air was filled with the sound of music and laughter. A true leader listens and serves, Matsi said, his voice calm but firm. The young villagers nodded, their eyes filled with determination. Drums echoed through the square as villagers and visitors danced together. Long tables laden with food brought everyone together in joy. Our work doesn't end here, Matsi said, addressing the group. We must think about the generations to come. The villagers worked together, carving symbols of their story into the stone. This will remind us of who we are, Matsi said. Matsi gazed at the monument, his family by his side. This is just the beginning of what we can achieve, he said. We will honor what you've taught us, a young villager said, bowing respectfully. Matsi smiled, his eyes filled with pride. The group waved goodbye as they walked into the horizon. This is only the beginning, Matsi said quietly. The air was filled with laughter and the rhythm of daily life. The village thrived in the glow of its achievements. This monument is a reminder of who we are and what we've overcome, Matsi said. The villagers bowed their heads in solemn agreement. Drums echoed through the square as villagers danced under the moonlight. Here's to the future, someone cheered. Matsi leaned against the udara tree, staring at the stars. We've come so far, he whispered. It's time for you to lead, Matsi said, his voice steady. The young leaders nodded, their faces filled with determination. Drums echoed through the square as villagers cheered for Matsi. You will always be our guide, someone shouted. Matsi stood at the edge of the village, gazing into the horizon. This is how it should be, he said with a smile. Together we are stronger, a villager said, raising their hands in unity. The crowd cheered, their voices echoing with determination. Matsi sat with his family, their laughter mingling with the sounds of the night. I'm proud of all we've done, he said softly. The village came alive with the light of a new day. The young leaders stood tall, their faces filled with resolve. Our journey is just beginning, the young leader said, their voice steady. Together we will create a brighter future. Fields were tilled and homes repaired as the village embraced its new leadership. We are stronger together, a leader said, smiling. The marketplace buzzed with laughter and activity. Children played while elders shared stories under the udara tree. Education is key to our growth, one leader said. The group nodded, sharing their ideas with enthusiasm. Children sat on mats under the shade of a tree, their eyes bright with curiosity. Knowledge is our greatest tool, the teacher said. Together, we can achieve even greater things, Matsi said. The visitors nodded, their faces filled with agreement. Villagers and allies laid markers for the new path. This will bring us closer together, one leader said. Elders narrated stories while children wrote them down. This is how we keep our legacy alive, an elder said. Your stories are a gift to us, a villager said to a visitor. The square buzzed with excitement as crafts and traditions were exchanged. Laughter filled the air as children played and elders shared stories under the udara tree. The village pulsed with life and happiness. I bring news from the east, the messenger said, standing tall. The villagers leaned in, eager to hear more. This could strengthen us even more, one leader said. Matsi nodded, his face thoughtful. Let's show them who we are, Matsi said, tightening his bag. The group set out, their steps steady and purposeful. Welcome to our home, the community leader said, extending a hand. The delegation smiled, their spirits lifted by the warm reception. Your methods are inspiring, one leader said. The room buzzed with the energy of new possibilities. The drums echoed as the leaders exchanged gifts. May this bond grow stronger with time, Matsi said solemnly. Drums echoed through the square as dancers moved in harmony. Families from both communities shared meals and laughter under the starlit sky. Together, we can create something truly remarkable, Matsi said, pointing to the distant horizon. The leaders nodded, inspired by the vision. Villagers gathered around as the sapling was placed into the earth. This tree will stand as a testament to our unity, a leader declared. This market belongs to all of us, a leader announced. Stalls overflowed with colorful goods as laughter and bartering filled the air. The caravan moved steadily down the path, its goods packed tightly. Villagers waved, their cheers echoing into the distance. We've built something extraordinary, Matsi said, gazing at the thriving village. And the best is yet to come. The market buzzed with life as traders exchanged goods and ideas. Children laughed and danced to the rhythm of drums in the square. Your methods are remarkable, one leader said. The group nodded, eager to implement new ideas. The square was alive with music and laughter as villagers shared meals under the starlit sky. We have so much to be thankful for, Matsi said. We've come so far, but there's still so much to achieve, Matsi said. The leaders nodded, inspired by the view of their thriving communities. They need our help, Matsi said firmly. The villagers worked together, packing supplies and preparing to send aid. Laughter and cheer filled the fields as villagers harvested crops together. This is the fruit of our unity, a leader said. Water flowed through to the channels as villagers cheered. This is what we can achieve together, Matsi said with a smile. The future is in your hands, an elder said, gesturing toward the fields. The children listened attentively, their eyes filled with curiosity. Bright colors filled the wall as villagers painted together. This is our story, a leader said, smiling at the mural. Drums echoed as dancers performed gracefully in the square. Crafts and foods from both communities were exchanged with smiles and laughter. We're stronger when we work together, a child said, hammering a piece of wood. The group laughed, their faces filled with pride. Families sat together under the udara tree, sharing stories as the stars twinkled above. This is how life should be, Matsi said softly. Musicians played soulful melodies as storytellers captivated the crowd. Crafts lined the square, each piece a testament to the village's artistry. This isn't goodbye, Matsi said, clasping hands with the departing leader. It's the start of something lasting. The future holds endless possibilities, Matsi said, his voice filled with hope. The villagers nodded, their faces alight with inspiration. Our strength lies in remembering our roots, an elder said, gesturing to the children. The younger generation listened intently, their eyes filled with respect. When we build together, we grow stronger, a villager said, carrying stones to the site. Laughter and camaraderie filled the air as the work progressed. Matsi watched the river flow peacefully under the golden sunset. We've come so far, he whispered, his face calm and thoughtful. This is what we can achieve together, Matsi said, addressing the crowd. Cheers and applause filled the square as the villagers celebrated. We've heard of your accomplishments, the visitor said, extending a hand. Matsi smiled, shaking hands firmly. Our journey doesn't end here, Matsi said, his voice filled with resolve. The villagers nodded, their faces glowing with optimism. This monument stands as a testament to our unity, a villager said. Matsi smiled, his expression filled with gratitude. Let's build something remarkable, Matsi said, lifting a beam. The villagers worked together, their determination unwavering. Matsi sat by the fires with his family, his voice soft. I'm so proud of what we've accomplished together. You are the roots of our strength, Matsi said, addressing the elders. The crowd applauded, their faces filled with admiration. This could be the beginning of something great, a villager said. Matsi nodded, his face thoughtful. Drums echoed through the square as villagers danced and laughed. Tonight we celebrate all we've accomplished, Matsi declared. Matsi walked through the fields, smiling at the sight of thriving crops. This is the fruit of our unity, he said to a farmer. We'll face this together, Matsi said firmly, addressing the concerned villagers. The crowd murmured in agreement. Villagers worked side by side, their faces filled with resolve. We are stronger than this, Matsi encouraged, lifting a heavy load. This is the way forward, Matsi said, pointing to the diagram. The villagers nodded, their spirits lifted. Villagers moved swiftly, each playing a part in the effort. We can do this, a leader encouraged, carrying supplies. Drums echoed as villagers danced in the square. Together we can face anything, Matsi said with a smile. This could open doors we never imagined, the visitor said. Matsi nodded, his eyes thoughtful. We need to show them the best of who we are, Matsi said, pointing to the map. The leaders nodded in agreement. Drums and cheers filled the square as the delegation departed. Make us proud, a villager shouted with a smile. The group moved steadily along the winding path, their faces filled with purpose. This is a journey of great importance, Matsi said. Welcome to our home, the host leader said with a smile. The delegation bowed in gratitude, presenting their gifts. Drums echoed as dancers performed gracefully, their movements captivating. Elders shared stories, their voices rich with history. Your methods are innovative, a host leader said, examining the tools. The delegation smiled, eager to share more. Long tables were filled with colorful dishes as villagers shared stories. This is the heart of friendship, Matsi said, raising a cup. We've learned so much from each other, a villager said. The group nodded, their smiles filled with gratitude. May this bond grow stronger with time, the host leader said, presenting a carved token. The delegation bowed, their expressions filled with gratitude. We've gained so much from this, Matsi said as the group walked. The path ahead was bright under the rising sun. Drums and cheers filled the square as the delegation returned. "Tell us everything," a villager exclaimed with a wide smile. "The way they danced was mesmerizing," a delegation member said, gesturing animatedly. The crowd listened with wide-eyed fascination. Villagers eagerly tried the new methods in their fields. "This is going to change everything," Matsi said with a smile. Drums echoed as villagers danced under the stars. "This is a celebration of what we can achieve together," Matsi declared. "We've achieved so much, but there's still more to do," Matsi said. The leaders nodded, their expressions filled with determination. "This is our future," an elder said, smiling as children performed a dance. The crowd applauded, their hearts full. "Together, we can achieve even greater things," Matsi declared. The villagers cheered, their faces glowing with hope. "This tree will stand as a testament to what we've built," Matsi said, placing the sapling in the ground. The crowd cheered softly, their expressions filled with pride. Matsi sat by the river, watching the water ripple under the moonlight. "This is what we've dreamed of," he whispered. "This is just the beginning," Matsi said to the crowd. The villagers clapped and danced, their spirits high with pride. "We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us," an elder said, lighting a ceremonial flame. The villagers bowed their heads in respect. "It's time for you to lead us forward," an elder said, handing a staff to a young leader. The crowd clapped, their faces filled with pride. The sun rose over the fields as the villagers began their day. "This is a new beginning," Matsi said, smiling at the horizon. Farmers tilled the fields while traders exchanged goods in the square. Children played near the tree as elders shared stories under its shade. "This will ensure a better life for everyone," Matsi said, pointing to the diagram. The leaders nodded, their faces filled with resolve. Drums echoed through the square as villagers danced under the stars. "This is only the beginning," Matsi declared, his voice filled with emotion. Drums echoed through the square as villagers danced under the stars. "This is only the beginning," Matsi declared, his voice filled with emotion. Women carried pots of water on their heads with grace, while the aroma of cooking filled the air. "The day begins with purpose," an elder said with a smile. "Your voices shape our future," Matsi said, addressing the crowd. The villagers nodded, their faces filled with trust. "This is a token of our appreciation," a villager said, handing Matsi a beautifully carved artifact. Matsi's eyes glistened as he accepted it with a bow. Matsi sat in the shade, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "We've come so far," he whispered, a faint smile on his face. "The strength of tomorrow lies in what we teach today," an elder said. The children listened intently, their eyes wide with curiosity. "The world holds endless possibilities," Matsi said, pointing to a map. The group nodded, their resolve unshaken. The group walked steadily along the dusty path, their faces filled with anticipation. "What lies ahead could change everything," one said with a smile. Families gathered around the fire, their faces glowing in the flickering light. "These moments remind us of what truly matters," Matsi said softly. "We must welcome change with open hearts," Matsi said, addressing the crowd. The villagers nodded, their faces thoughtful and hopeful. "We are honored to meet you," a villager said, bowing slightly. The neighboring leader smiled warmly, extending a hand in friendship. "Together we can achieve so much more," Matsi said, lifting a beam. Both groups worked side by side, their laughter filling the air. "We've learned so much," one villager said as they approached the square. The crowd greeted them with cheers and questions. "This is how they grow crops in half the time," a villager said, demonstrating a new method. The crowd watched with fascination and nods of approval. Villagers tried the new techniques in their fields, their faces glowing with hope. "We're creating something remarkable," Matsi said. Drums echoed through the square as villagers danced and laughed. "This is the future we dreamed of," Matsi declared with pride. Villagers worked side by side, repairing pathways and building a new meeting hall. "Together we can achieve anything," Matsi said, lifting a beam. "We have always been strongest when we stand together," the elder said, gesturing to the crowd. The villagers listened, their expressions thoughtful. Standing atop the hill, Matsi gazed at the bustling square below. "This is the future we dreamed of," he said softly. "Together we can create a stronger future for all of us," Matsi said, addressing the leaders. They nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting determination. Dancers from different communities performed together, their movements synchronized and energetic. "This is the beauty of our unity," Matsi said with pride. Matsi placed a hand on the tree's trunk, his eyes soft with emotion. "We've created something truly special," he whispered. "Our strength lies in our unity." an elder said, his voice steady. The children listened intently, their faces lit with curiosity. These are gifts from the people across the river, one traveler said, presenting a bundle. The crowd gathered, eager to see and hear more. Let this be the start of an even brighter future, Matsi declared, raising his hand. The villagers cheered, their voices filled with hope. These fields will feed generations, Matsi said as he planted the first seed. The villagers cheered, digging and planting in unison. What do you want to build when you grow up? A mother asked her child, smiling. The child answered with excitement, their eyes shining. Let this be a message of unity, Matsi said, sealing the letter. The courier bowed before setting off into the horizon. I bring stories and goods from across the river, the traveler said, opening his pack. The villagers leaned in, eager to see. This could be the start of something great, Matsi said. The leaders nodded, their expressions serious yet hopeful. May the gods guide your path, an elder said as the group set off. The villagers waved, their smiles filled with encouragement. These are beautiful crafts, a trader said, examining their goods. The villagers smiled, exchanging gifts and stories. Your efforts are uniting us all, the message read. The group paused, their expressions filled with pride and longing. This is the beginning of something great, the host said, shaking hands with Matsi. The group cheered, their faces alight with excitement. Their ways are different, but we've learned so much, Matsi said, smiling. The villagers clapped, eager to hear more. If we work together, there's no limit to what we can achieve, Matsi said, pointing to the plans. The leaders nodded in agreement. Drummers played as villagers danced under the lanterns. This is a celebration of what we've built together, Matsi said proudly. Villagers worked side by side, building a bridge to connect their lands. This is more than a structure, it's a bond, Matsi said. You are the leaders of tomorrow, an elder said, addressing the children. The young ones listened, their faces alight with curiosity. We've achieved so much, and there's still more to come, Matsi said, his voice filled with pride. The sun set behind him, painting the sky in warm hues. This will be a celebration for all of us, Matsi said, sealing the final invitation. The messenger nodded and rode off into the horizon. Women carried baskets of food while children hung colorful fabrics from the tree. Everything must be perfect, one villager said with a laugh. Drummers played as villagers danced hand in hand. This is the power of unity, Matsi said with pride. Together we can achieve something extraordinary, Matsi said. The leaders nodded, their faces thoughtful and inspired. Matsi stood beneath the ancient Udara tree, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. This is what we've worked for, he whispered. May our friendship grow stronger, a leader said as they departed. The villagers waved, their smiles filled with hope. Their visit has given us so much hope, Matsi said, addressing the crowd. The villagers nodded, their smiles filled with pride. Let this day mark a new chapter for us all, Matsi declared, raising a ceremonial staff. The crowd cheered in agreement. Drums echoed as villagers carried baskets of crops to the square. This is the fruit of our labor, Matsi said proudly. Every family shall share in this success, Matsi said as baskets were handed out. Smiles and gratitude filled the square. This is the story of what we can achieve together, an elder said, his voice steady. The children leaned in, their faces filled with wonder. Lanterns swayed gently in the breeze as the village rested. This is the peace we've built, Matsi murmured, gazing at the stars. Drummers played as villagers danced in a circle. This is the strength of our unity, Matsi said with pride. Our time will pass, but the seeds we've planted will grow, an elder said, placing a hand on Matsi's shoulder. He nodded silently, his face thoughtful. What shall we build next? A young villager asked, their eyes bright with excitement. Anything we dream of, Matsi replied with a smile. We have accomplished so much, but our journey is far from over, Matsi said. The crowd cheered, their faces filled with excitement. The future belongs to you, Matsi said, addressing the youth. They nodded eagerly, their faces glowing with determination. Tools clanged and voices rose in cheerful harmony as they worked. This is how we build our future, Matsi said with pride. Your wisdom has been our foundation, Matsi said, bowing to the elders. The crowd applauded, their faces filled with admiration. Look at what we've built together, Matsi said, gesturing to the structure. The villagers cheered, their joy echoing in the square. Let this be a reminder of what we can achieve together, Matsi said, handing over the gift. The guests smiled warmly, nodding in agreement. We have so much to be thankful for, Matsi said, his voice steady. The villagers murmured in agreement, their faces serene. These are the hands that will carry our legacy forward, an elder said, guiding a child's hand. The others watched with quiet focus. What will the next chapter look like? Someone asked. Anything we imagine, Matsi replied with a smile. Together we can accomplish even greater things, Matsi said, shaking hands with the visitors. The villagers nodded, their faces filled with hope. This land will provide for generations, Matsi said, planting the first seed. The villagers worked side by side, their spirits high. Lanterns glowed softly as laughter echoed through the village. This is the peace we've worked for, Matsi said, smiling. These goods are unlike anything you've seen, the trader said, opening his pack. The villagers leaned in, their faces filled with intrigue. This could open many doors for us, Matsi said, pointing to the plans. The leaders nodded, their faces thoughtful. May your journey be safe, Matsi said, shaking the trader's hand. The crowd waved, their smiles warm. This is just the beginning of something bigger, Matsi said. The villagers nodded, their faces alight with determination. Drummers played as villagers danced around the fire. This is what we can achieve together, Matsi said, smiling. The future is in your hands, Matsi said, his voice steady. The youth listened, their faces filled with hope. This is how we grow stronger together, Matsi said as they worked side by side. The villagers nodded, their efforts united. I will tell the story of what happened next in the next video. See you soon. Bye.